Hi, everybody. I'm Max Michaels. I am the publisher of Movement Magazine, and I'm also a co-owner of Hall of Heroes, who is putting on the PlayWorld show for the closing party of the Toytopia exhibit at the Mosh tonight. And I'm incredibly excited to talk to Mike Bowling, who is the creator of Pound Puppies, the famous toy line, and who is featured in the Toytopia show. So we wanted to bring this virtual interview to you guys tonight as part of the programming and talk to Mike and introduce you to him and get you to know a little bit more about his career and history. So, hi, Mike. Thanks a lot for doing this with us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Right on. Well, let's kind of start from the beginning. I'd like to know a little bit. Let's find out a little bit about you. Where did you get your start? Where are you from? And how did you kind of get into the toy industry?
Well, I'm what you would say is the living the classic American dream. I was born in Hazard, Kentucky, raised in Ohio, and living in the Dayton, Cincinnati area. Worked in a factory at Ford Motor Company that made transmissions for 18 years. And I got an idea one year at Christmas time. I remember the exact day that I got the idea, and I was figuring out. I had bought a soft sculpture bullet boy doll for my daughter for Christmas, and she loved it and just took it everywhere with her. And I was thinking, how can an inanimate object have that much emotional appeal? Well, I thought, as far as she was concerned, that was her baby. And then I thought, well, if there's two things people love passionately on this earth that way, are their kids and their pets. And some people treat their pets as if they're their kids, and me included. And when I was growing up, we always went where when I wanted a pet. My mom would take me to the pound, and I thought, oh, you know, pound dogs. But then I thought, some people don't like dogs, and some people don't like cats, but they love a puppy. Everybody does when they're puppies. So I thought, oh, that's it, pound puppies. And I'm gonna, me having done time on an assembly line at Ford, I figured out a formula to manufacture them where we could create these unlimited numbers of differences in them, just one body style, different colors, rotations, ears, and everything. And then I put them in a box like they were from the pound. And the magic was that they had an identity without having an identity. They were pound puppies. The child would pick out the one they wanted. They would name it, determine whether it's male or female. And so it went on to become a huge success. We sold 60% to boys and 40% to girls. Or I'm sorry, 60% girls, 40% boys. And so we were written up as the first truly unisex toy ever sold.
Really?
Versus Barbie girls, GI Joe boys. So it took off, and I was very blessed. I ended up with a cartoon show on Hanna-Barbera after I sent them a letter and two handmade pound puppies and said this would make a great cartoon show. They contacted me, and then I fainted and came to, and they said they loved the concept, and I went out and met with them, and we ended up with a cartoon show and a movie.
So did you do this all on your own, or did you have a toy company that you went to, and then kind of like how did you manage the production and the stuff like that? Like what was the process for you to go
No, I'm
from
creative.
zero to popular?
That's a very good question. I'm strictly creative, and I own the intellectual property, and then I license it to a toy company, because the manufacturing, distribution, advertising, all the things that go into it, that's done by the companies. And then I receive a royalty on each unit sold, just like a guy that puts out a book. And we were very fortunate in that Pound Puppies took off. And I had a consultant agent that I had gotten in touch with who really helped me, Bob Steiner. His family started the Kenner Toy Company, so he knew the toy business.
Wow. Whoa, yeah, that's
Getting the right person to help you is the key. And with Bob's help, we went all over the world, licensed it in 52 countries around the world. And like I said, we became #1 in the U.S. And it's still out there today. The classics just came back last Christmas. And so it's still loved, but you've got the mothers and the grandmothers today purchasing those for their kids and grandchildren because they grew up with them.
So right, they had them when they were kids. Yeah.
The nostalgia comes back, and And so we're doing extremely well, and I'm very pleased. I couldn't be more pleased with just the fact that, they're still loved and remembered.
Sure. And they're on the shelves today, right?
Yeah,
They re-released
they're
them recently.
still out there today. I did probably 30, I've been in the business 37 years now. I probably invented 30 other toys that have been in the marketplace. None of them wrote.
Name some of those for us. Like what else have you put out?
Waverly and the Magic Seashell, Splashlings. I've had 2 different mermaid lines out most recently. Lost and Founds, Fistful of Aliens, Baby Burpee. I'm trying to run through all the ones that I've had. Extreme Pets and different
Extreme Pets.
The Extreme Pets. Oh yeah, they're a great gang of characters, and they went out on missions to save the world and do different things, utilizing the talents, like the boy that was the skateboarder. Well, his dog became a really bad dude on the skateboarding and et cetera, and they picked it off. So they went out while the kids were at school and did their things, and then came back. Who knows? Maybe that's why somebody at Disney got the idea to do the thing, what are your pets doing at home when you're gone? And I'd like to think so.
What are some of your most memorable toys from your childhood? What toys do you remember that you still remember today that you played with back when you were a kid?
That's a good question, going back in my childhood and stuff. I was a GI Joe kid, and of course everybody loved Tonka trucks, and I have a connection to that too, by the way, because Tonka was the first one in the United States that took Pound Puppies on. I got turned down by 14 companies.
Oh, really? I thought they just did like vehicles and stuff, so I didn't realize they were.
That's a very good point to bring up, because timing is everything in life. And when I went to Tonka, they had just introduced a line called GoBots. And GoBots was the first transformable action figure character. And it had shot up to #1. They had hired a new company president, and they wanted to expand and become more than just a truck company. They wanted to become like a toy company that has all lines. So they had GoBots, excuse me, which was a hit. And then they took on Pound Puppies because they wanted a plush character. As somebody who turned me down at Kenner many years ago, when I took and showed it to Kenner, he came up to me after it hit #1, and he said, Mike, he said, why all of us turned you down is, he said, we thought we knew everything, when in fact, when we were turning it down, he said, you had the right idea at the right time. And he said, so that's the problem with toy. Oh, he said, we know why it wouldn't work. We had all the reasons internally that we decided it would never work. And so we turned it down, and then it became #1 in the world. So that's kind of how the story goes sometimes with toys.
Oh, yeah. I just watched the special where on the Toys That Made Us, where they talked about Mego turning down or missing on the Star Wars license that ended up with Kenner. So how that made Mego, which was the action figure at the time, was, took them out. So.
Cabbage Patch went through that. I went through that. And I like to tell people, I did get the classic rejection for Pound Puppies. I was presenting to a company called Ideal. I was presenting to the then president of Ideal at that time. And I went in, and Bob Steiner was with me, my agent, who knew the president. He'd actually given him his first job in the toy industry, and he'd shot up like a rocket and was president of Ideal at that time. And I made my complete presentation. And he looked up at me and he said, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. It looks like it's squatting to pee, and I've got a meeting to go to. And he got up and walked out and left me sitting there. And I turned and looked at Bob, my agent. I said, Bob, I'm really glad you knew this guy. It really helped us with the rejection. But you know what? My belief was so strong. I just kept going on and on and on until I found, and I was determined, if every toy company turned me down, then I would start manufacturing and distributing it myself. Much like Cabbage Patch was started, originally handmade ones that were being sold, and then it went from there into a toy company. And it's still out there today. You can still find Cabbage Patch on the toy shelves.
And you are actually kind of very close to us out in Amelia Island. Your offices and stuff. What brought you to our neck of the woods?
My life, I always wanted to be by the ocean. And of course, working in a factory at Ford, that was not an option for me in my life. And I just decided at some point, I said, I can do my job anywhere. Why not do it someplace that you've always wanted to go? And I went on a 30-day road trip, and I started over in Tampa, and I went south in Tampa on the coast, and then I came across to Jacksonville, and I went all the way up the East Coast checking out oceanfront communities. Found Amelia Island, fell in love with it, moved here, and it's the best move I ever made in my life. I love it here. I love the people here. I love the island because it's got, it's a small town. Because when you're on an island, there's something about you can go over a bridge, but there's something about being tied into a community. And Fernandina is just phenomenal, and the people in Fernandina are phenomenal. And they really, it's like Mayberry RFD. They really care. They really care about their community and stuff. And I love being here.
Yeah. How long have you been here?
1993.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been here, what is that, 28 years. And I love the place. 21 years ago, we set up a reading program in the schools here. And the kids that read they get points, values for each book they read. It's for the second and third graders. And when they reach a certain level of points, they're required, like say 200 or 250 minimum, then I would give them a autographed Pound Puppy to encourage them. It's been very, very successful here. I've had the principals tell me that the school went from like a C grading up to an A grading, and they think that the reading program had so much to do in that too with the kids. So I'm involved with the community, like I said, and it's great. And the kids, I mean, come on, the kids are the reason I'm successful. So I try to give back to the kids every time I get a chance.
That's so fantastic. So tell me about, you have anything that you could sort of pinpoint as some of the biggest changes in the toy industry from the time you started till now? It's, a lot's going on. So.
Yeah, there's two words that have changed the toy industry, and especially for inventors forever. It's called Walmart and Target. Back when I got in '84, you had like, say, 500 different retailers that had X percentage of the toy business. So you had all these venues, and Toys R Us was the number one at that time person for toys sold in the US. And so nowadays, with Target and Walmart controlling 80% of the business, there's less shelf space for people to try your toy line, because Walmart has the same shelf. Yeah, I mean, some stores are a little bigger, but they have the toy space. And once somebody's on that toy space taking it up, there's only so much real estate. So,
the variety is gone of stores. Like before, you had Circus World and KB Toys and Toys R Us and all that.
Sears was huge way back in the 80s.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And stuff like that. But if Walmart, I had a toy line out a few years ago, and Walmart just declined it. And they had other toys in their toy lines. And so automatically I'm losing 40% of the toy market. So I'm down to 60% potential sales. And then the toy companies don't want to put the advertising dollars into it.
Right.
But thank goodness the marketing of toys has changed dramatically also. And that is through what is called an unboxer. And these are people on the internet who have followers, and they unbox the toy and they play with it, and you only see their hands and hear their voices. And that's where kids are nowadays. When we launched Splashlings, our line was shown by a lady called Cookie Swirl C. She's the biggest one. And then she showed our line, and within 30 days, it had 5 million hits by kids that are just, the ones that would love to play with it. And you can't pay the unboxers because then it would be just the big boys paying to get on there. So to keep it fair, the unboxers really do unbox the toys they love, and then they make their money, through all the hits and different things that they have, and and advertisers and stuff. So unboxing is the biggest new thing in toy advertising.
That's awesome. So tell me about what you have going on currently. Like what do you have in production right now? Any sort of toy lines or anything happening?
Yes, I've got a new toy. I've got a new mermaid line. I love mermaids. And the reason I love mermaids is like with Pound Puppies, when I sent 2 handmade Pound Puppies to Hanna-Barbera and I got a call like within a few days, they love it. They want you to come out here. When I walked into their office, and I'm still pinching myself to today over this because Pound Puppies was not launched yet in the US, and I'm going in the office of Hanna-Barbera, who I grew up with. And Joe Barbera was standing in the office holding the Pound Puppy that I'd sent to them. And he said, "Do you know why I love this?" He said, "Because it's a natural. I don't have to explain to a child what it is, what it's about. The storylines are a natural, and it translates all over the world, even where they don't have pounds. Kids' natural love, about this." And he said, "That's great." Well, then I got to thinking about it. And there's another thing like that. It's called mermaids. Kids know what it is.
Right.
They love it. It has a worldwide recognition. And with Pound Puppies, I didn't create puppies. There were a lot of toys out there, in advance of that. Snoopy, and you think of the different, top dog lines. I carved out my niche within the puppy market or the dog market, plush market, because I created an identity in Pound Puppies. It became a huge hit, still is to today, and it's identified as that. Likewise with mermaids, I'm creating a special, unique mermaid, a very unique one, and from a special land under the ocean. And so, but when it hits the shelf, the girls will know, hey, that's a mermaid. But
are these plushes or action figures or kind of what?
No, these are the little collectible plastic ones.
Okay.
I put that on all. The girls love to collect and play with them and all that type of stuff. So we're working on a new mermaid line. I'm working on a book. I'm working on a movie concept. And, I decided I'm 71. Everybody says, well, when are you going to retire? And I finally said, never. I love what I do. What would I do if I wasn't doing this? Sit at home. I'm not going to watch soap operas, and I'm not going to play golf 7 days a week. So I'll work until God takes me off this earth. So and I love what I do. So that makes it fun. And you see my office. I'm sitting in this chair in the backdrop. My office is like being in a Disney office. And it really inspires the creativity, and so I'm very pleased.
Now, I'll wrap this up real quick with as far as up and coming toy makers out there, from your experience, what do you think is some of the best advice from your experience in the industry that you could give to an up and coming toy maker? Almost as if you're talking to your younger self when you started. What would you say, to help you through getting your toy?
In this day and age, and the companies are very inviting to inventors. There are inventor groups like me and different ones that are famous worldwide for inventing things, and you get an audience, quickly in with that. But they still work with outside inventors too. But you need to come up with something that has a unique, like I told you, I've got a unique twist to my mermaids right now. And one of the things we have now that we didn't have back when I started was Google and search engines and everything. You get an idea. Now, when I get an idea, I put it in, and within a few minutes, I know if it's been done, at what time it was done, when it was done in the past. And a lot of times I've had inventors bring inventions to me, and I say, sorry, that was done 6 years ago by by Mattel, or, or this was done here. And a lot of people will spend a lot of money and time and everything. They need to do their research. Once they get it, they need to go to an attorney, because you need to protect your intellectual property. That's what creates value for you. I remember the first thing I did, which was the smartest thing, and it ties into what you're asking here, is when I got the idea for Pound Puppies, I went to an attorney first. And I said, so I've got this great idea. I'm going to make these dogs. I'm going to put them in a box and I'm going to sell them and all that, da, 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 and all that. And he looked across the desk at me and he says, you can't own an idea. He said, you can own patents, trademarks, copyrights. And once you own those, if somebody wants to do them, then they have to pay you for the rights to do them. And that really hit home with me. So it's important for them, number one, do their research thoroughly, have a unique twist on whatever it is that they're doing, pay attention to what's going on in the marketplace now, go through toy stores, research. And then number three, make sure you get with an attorney and protect your idea.
Good advice, sage advice. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you doing this with us today, and I wish you could make it to the show, but unfortunately, I know you have prior obligations.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm going to be out of town. I wished I could be there too.
Yeah, well, you did get to see the exhibit, though, right?
Yeah. I went through the exhibit and everything, and a couple of my Pound Puppy friend of mine will be walking around at this event.
Absolutely, right on.
Say hi to everybody.
Well, thank you so much, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Max. I appreciate you.